Hey, guys, it's Dr. E, and I wanted to pop in and share a story tonight and just have a transparent moment and a testimony time, and also to just share some real life wisdom about some things that had to happen to me before some things happened for me. So I'll give everybody just a second to get their notifications. But hello, I'm Dr. Elisa Harney. I am known as the Empowerment Specialist, and I'm a coach, I'm a strategist, mentor. You can add a lot of things, but I help today's leaders really expand their performance, their profits, their presence, their platform using sustainable strategies for progressive sustainability. And tonight, though, I wanted to have a real talk about some things that had to switch for me, switch in me before things switched for me. And so I really want to just have a heart to heart. I'm going to do my best tonight not to be emotional, but I've been feeling something all up in my chest. And so I can't guarantee anything tonight. But I will say to you all that you guys can always depend on me to be authentic. You know that I believe that truth plus transparency equals transformation. The truth is what happened. Transparency is what we're willing to share, but I believe transformation happens as a result. And so, do me a favor, hit the share button or invite somebody on. I see you guys in the back. Thank you all. Because I just believe sometimes a lot of us like to project perfection, and we try to act like I woke up like this, but no. I just posted a testimony, but I really want to give you guys some raw footage behind the scenes. I want to really tell a part of me that you may not, about as part of my story that you may not have ever heard. And because I believe in people hearing the story behind the glory, a lot of the people like to, and as we should, celebrate with one another. But I think it is the journey that precedes that's really going to encourage people. And so, if you know of someone who may have been going through or just in a place of transition, just who would probably benefit from being encouraged by somebody who's going to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Or somebody who just wants to, you may need to hear something just to uplift their spirit. Tag them or share this on your page. You never know who this testimony may help. There are no notes. I'm not teaching tonight. I'm really just coming to share and really coming to be transparent. Like I said, I've been a little emotional all day long, and so I'm going to see if I can keep it in check as I share with you all just some a part of my story. I think a lot of the times we like to share the part that is shiny and the part that is polished and the part that we have went in and we were able to edit and put a filter over. But I think it's that part that was ugly sometimes, the part that was a little raggedy, the part that was not cultivated, or wasn't being able to be packaged real pretty. I think sometimes that is what makes all the difference in the world. And I just believe that a lot of us have been discouraged because we see people who seem to have it together, have it made, doing wonderful things, in the flow. And we feel like, well, goodness, my life doesn't look like that. The things that are happening to me don't feel like that. And so I don't see where I could ever be able to manifest that level of anything. Well, I think it's not because they don't deal with it. I just think a lot of the people, they pass over that part and get to the good stuff. But tonight, I'm going to talk about the good stuff, and then I'm going to go backwards and tell you the gory stuff that happened before the good stuff happened. So again, I believe that this is going to be powerful. Please be sure to share this with somebody, because I want to talk about the fact that before things switched up for me in my life, in business and finances, in different areas, in ministry. There was a switch, an internal switch that had to be made. And you know what's very interesting about that? Sometimes you never truly appreciate the presence of light until you are encompassed in darkness. I'll say that again. Give me 1 second. Sometimes again you never are really able to, I thought my puppy was trying to bust in my door. Sometimes you're never really able to appreciate the presence of light until you have been encompassed in darkness. And I think the darkness is the time where we want to hide and disappear and shy away. But I think when we get in those dark places, it is where we are able to really appreciate even just a slither of light. Sometimes we take light for granted. Sometimes we're just, if it feels like sunshine every day and it's never any rain or clouds, it's really hard to appreciate light. And I think for me, I have dealt with some very dark moments in my life in different capacities. And so when light started showing up, and can I just be honest? Sometimes when you're used to dark moments and dark places, sometimes you will adapt yourself to the dim. Man, I'm helping already. Like I said, I hope y'all are tagging people and sharing, because, and I hope my puppy will let me get through this live without totally wrecking it. But yeah, sometimes when you have been in the presence of darkness for so long, um, you'll start to adapt to the dim. You'll say to yourself, I'm okay with it, the brightness not being turned all the way up. I'm okay, because light doesn't usually come my way. So I'll adjust my vision. When you're in a dark space, especially a dim place, man, I feel the revelation of this. When you're in a dim place, what has to happen is your eyes have to work extra hard all the time, and you put strain on your eyes to make up for, because what has to happen is for you to see bright, the light is passing through these gateways and projecting differently. And so sometimes when you're in a dim place, your eyes are having to work, they're having to enlarge itself and try to take in as much light as possible, to really get the to really be able to discern and distinguish what it's seeing. And if you're not careful, those of us who deal with some bootleg eyesight and need some contacts, some glasses and whatnot, we recognize that when that eye strain starts happening, it's not a joke. We start paying for it in our physical body. We start getting bad headaches because it's stressing us. I think that's the same thing that happens in our lives. We start getting so accustomed in our mind to it being dark, but our eyes are saying, no, this is not normal. I'm working too hard trying to see. I'm straining myself trying to really detect what's going on. And then, and have you ever been in a dark place for so long, like physically, and you walk out and the sun is bright, and the first thing you do is like, oh God, oh my goodness, that's too much. That's what happens sometimes when we're so used to disappointment. We're so used to things not going well, and we're so used to running into roadblocks, and we're so used to hearing no's instead of yeses, and we're so used to people exploiting us and turning their back. We're so used to rejection. We're so used to abandonment. We're so used to trauma and drama that when peace comes and knocks on our door, and when favor tries to flag us down, we look at it funny, and we're like, what you doing here? You don't play with me. What are you up to? What you trying to do? We start thinking, we start getting a little thuggish. We start saying, no, don't, I'm not crazy. I'm not a fool. We don't know how to respond to it because we've been in darkness for so long. When we get into a place of light, we get suspicious. We start getting, looking sideways. We start acting some kind of way. We distrustful. Is this true? Is this real? Is this authentic? Is this, what is this that is happening? And so I think for a lot of us, we have to make the switch. That's really the theme of what I'm talking about tonight. I had to make a switch. I didn't realize that my dimmer was on. Man, can listen, if you're watching Facebook, YouTube, can you ask your social media neighbor, is your dimmer on? I think a lot of the time I didn't even realize it because I saw some light. I just assumed I was the light or walking in the light, but the dimmer was on, and I was only at, like, 40%, 50% maybe. And then if I got too much light, and then somebody look, let me, and our dimmer is on. We're driving. You ever been driving and it got dark? You really didn't notice that it had started getting dark, and somebody kind of flashed at you like you need to turn your brights on. My dimmer was on. I even realize it, that if I don't have my lights up to full capacity, something could run out in the road and hit me. I could run off a cliff. I could run into, because I can't see. Is my dimmer on? And so I think for so long my dimmer was on. So for those of you all, and thank you guys, I see you all that's coming on and sharing. You can continue to share and tag somebody, even if you guys watch the replay. I believe this testimony is going to be a blessing. For those of you all that follow me on social media, maybe about an hour ago, I think, I don't even remember how long it was, but a little while ago, I put up a post, and the post was a testimony post, but the testimony was came with a tale, with a story, and I posted how today I was able, for the first time in my life, I walked right into a dealership, a Lexus dealership, and purchased an SUV, a nice, very nice SUV, and just walked in, and on my own. No cosigner. I didn't need a down payment. It wasn't in somebody else's name. It was mine. It belonged to me. And I, and something happened as it began to happen. I remember sitting in the office, and the type of thoughts that were going through my mind was, I can't do this. Not me. Me, not me. You know what I've been dealing with? You know what? I don't think I deserve this. This is happening for me. No, there's no way. Wait, I'll just wait. I'm not going to get too excited. And they just kept saying, we working on the paperwork. We getting everything together. And I was like, no, no, you couldn't be, because I know what's happening. Something is wrong. I knew it. I knew I couldn't get. I don't know why I was trying to have bright lights anyway. Let me switch this thing back. Let me bring this down, because this couldn't be happening. And I remember getting the keys today in my hand and just looking at them, and my mind did a flashback. I always say that my past is not a place of residence. I don't live there, but it is a place of reference. I refer back to where I've been so that I can measure how far I've come. And I started thinking about why this was so significant for me. Now, I can't speak for none of you all, but maybe this story will resonate with somebody. Maybe it will bless somebody. Maybe it will give someone a aha moment. But I can remember as I was looking at the keys and just going, I just, up until I signed on the dotted line and the guy handed me the keys and said, well, congratulations, you just bought yourself a vehicle. And I'm just like, what? Even driving back in it, I was just like, what's happening? I started remembering some things, and I think it's so important for us. I always say, trace the tree so you can remove the root. I needed to trace the tree of why this was so emotional for me. And like I said, tonight I may get emotional. So, y'all, if so, y'all just gonna get these tears and this streaked up makeup, whatever's gonna happen, gonna happen. But I started thinking about how all of us in the story of our life, I think sometimes if we are to look close enough, there is a thread that runs through it. There's a thread that commonly affects our decisions, that commonly affects the paths that we take, that commonly affects the people that we partner with, that commonly affects the opportunities that we make ourselves available for. The thread, sometimes, that has weaved its way throughout the course of our lives. And sometimes we don't pay attention to that. But, just over the last few weeks, I've been really paying attention to that. One of the things that I teach, those of you all that follow me and know me, know that I say that dysfunction distorts discernment. Dysfunction distorts discernment. When there is a dysfunction that is prominent or evident in your life, it will distort the way that you're able to discern. You're not able to rightly divide what is true. You're not able to make sound decisions. And so as I was kind of reading the record, and going back and looking over my life, I realized that one of the common threads in my life was lack. Um, like I said, I'm gonna get through this thing, if I can. But one of the common threads that was weaving its way through my life was lack. Lack. I can remember most of the decisions that I would make in my life, the major ones anyway, had everything to do with being in a place where I didn't feel like I had enough, or where I didn't feel like I was enough, or where I didn't feel like I would get enough. Um, and so I would make decisions. I would put myself in positions where I eventually would feel like I was at the mercy of someone else. I would put myself in a position where, and sometimes we don't even realize that we're putting ourselves in unhealthy codependent relationships where we're trying to figure out, how can I barter this, how can I give somebody something, that I may be good at, so that they can give me something that I actually need. I might be giving them something they want. Maybe I'm helping them organize something. Maybe I'm helping support them by, making some things easier for them in one area. But what I really need is money. What I really need is a place to live. What I really need is a car. What I really need is grocery. And so I think a lot of the times when I look back, at the common thread that was flowing in my life so long, and it's funny because I would have never saw myself as a person who has been teaching over the last few years about the winds of wealth, and being able to monetize, even as you are in ministry, being able to obtain wealth, even if you're a worshiper, being able to pray and also profit. I would have never put myself in a category of a person who would be a forerunner, for people to make the switch when it comes to financial stability and wealth. Not me, because that has always been my struggle. That has always been that thing. And that's just how God is. Sometimes He'll use that part of you that you've always felt deficient in. He'll use that part of you where you've always felt insecure in. He'll use that part where you say that thing doesn't have any substance. Oh my goodness, anything except that. I can't talk about that. I can't, oh, that we'll let somebody else deal with it. He'll use that very thing, to show himself strong, because it's not even about you. And wealth and finances had always been stronghold for me. I just can remember, even growing up, as I got older, I was always conscious. My mom, she never cared anything about name brand and all of that foolishness. She was unbothered about that. So I didn't really care about name brand stuff. But what I did, though, get in my head once I got older, and and I felt different places of lack in my life, emotional lack. Man, y'all need to hear this, because whatever that thing is, whatever that hole that's created, it shows up everywhere, and so lack was my culprit. And you've got to, as you hear my testimony, as I go through this, how I made the switch testimony, you've got to figure out. What's my thing? What is that thing that is keeping me from making this switch, keeping my dimmer on? And I always dealt with lack, emotional lack. I felt, if I felt unsupported, if I felt like there weren't enough people to support me, if I felt like I was not enough, I wasn't what people wanted, financially, lack, it was there. Educationally, if I felt like, oh, these people are so smart and I don't have, lack, it's just everywhere there was lack. That it had such an effect on my life. It was such a stronghold, and I can remember the emotion of lack. I remember marrying in lack, and I lacked. I felt like, I was in a situation where I went to college, and I got an academic scholarship, and I went to this amazing college, and then I got there, kind of lost my mind, and years go by. I'm pregnant. I'm having to go back home and face the music, and who does she think she was? And then she come out the church, and what are people gonna say? And so there became this deficiency in my emotions. Spiritually, I felt like I'm stained now. I can't come back into the house of the Lord because I've got this scarlet letter. I don't know if you know that thing, that this scarlet letter on my chest. I can't go back, and they're gonna reject me, and then I just lack. And so now I'm not in school now, and so educationally, what I was coming to have, and what I needed that particular thing for, I'm not gonna be able to accomplish it. Lack. And so now I'm a single parent, and there's another stigma connected to me, lack. And then, it was just lack. And so now I've got to figure out how we gonna survive. And so now, this is just me telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So now we gotta deal with WIC, and now we gotta deal with food stamps, and now we gotta deal with some type of rental insurance. Now I don't have a car. We gotta, I can remember having to take, the taxi to work in a restaurant as a hostess. Lack was just the permeating stream that was running through my life. And so I made a decision to marry someone because lack drew me to somebody who I felt like would play up the deficiencies in my life, where I didn't feel like I had certain things. This person projected having certain things, even though I didn't recognize that we attract what we articulate. And because I was singing the song of lack, well, you better hear me, the song of the lullaby of lack, what I did was I attracted the sound of scarcity. I've got to say this again, because I believe this testimony gonna help somebody. I hope y'all are sharing and tag. And because I was singing the song of scarcity, I attracted, or the lullaby of lack, I attracted somebody with the sound of scarcity. We don't understand. I say this all of the time as I teach, that we attract whatever we articulate. And I didn't realize that lack was speaking real loud. Can I help y'all? If anybody getting something out of it, y'all give me, teach Dr. E, or put something in the comments and let me know I'm helping you guys. But I did not recognize that my lack was loud. And even though I looked good on the outside, and I presented what looked like something of not even perfection, but I looked something like I was put together. What was happening was that the lullaby of lack was pronouncing the song and the sound of scarcity, and it was going out there and attracting, y'all hear me, predators, and a predator who would be able to say, wait a minute, She might look good on the outside and she's saying the right thing, but I hear a sound up under there. I hear something up under there that's attracting. See, we don't understand. Predators are attracted to the scent of blood. I don't know who this is gonna help, but predators are attracted to the scent of blood. And sometimes we don't recognize that we're bleeding in certain areas of our life. And there's a predator out there somewhere in physical form that's being attracted to that thing that we're leaking. And so I was in a place where I was bleeding and the blood was lack. I was leaving a trail of lack. I have lack with the relationships in my family at the time. Things were discombobulated with me and my family, and I was in a place where I was not really stable in a job. And so there again is a sound, that sound, that loud lack was sound, and that blood, that was what I was leaking. I was leaking lack. And so in different places, I had been scarred by the church, so I wasn't showing up on Sundays all the time, and I didn't want to be around the church folk because they had rejected me because I had had a baby out of wedlock. And so I was leaking lack. And so lack was showing up in so many different areas of my life, and it was sounding real loud. And that blood, that lack that I was dripping everywhere behind me, a predator start picking up the scent, and they start saying, oh, okay. So she's lacking in her self-esteem. Let me make sure I say just the right things. Let me make sure I oil up these words so that they slide down real slick. She's lacking in being able to provide for herself and her son. So let me make sure that I present her this perfect front of provision. I'm helping y'all. And so she's right now, she's being disconnected from ministry, from her foundation, for her. So let me come in and let me just play that card of, see, that's why I don't even fool with them church folk. See, this is why you don't even need that. You don't even need to be. And lack, I was leaking lack, and that scent was attracting predators. And because again, I said to you earlier, dysfunction distorts discernment. That when the predator was presented, it looked like provision. I hope y'all taking notes in the comment section, because I'm going to have to go watch this again to remember these gems. When the predator was presented, I perceived it as provision. Yeah. The predator was presented. I just perceived it as provision. And I did this because I was leaking lack. And so I couldn't see, because my dysfunction distorted my discernment. So I look at this person as though this is the solution. It didn't have nothing to do with Jesus and him crucified. This is the solution. Don't matter what my mama was trying to say. This is the solution. Don't matter what granny was saying. This is the solution. So I made a very crazy decision to marry the predator, because my dysfunction distorted my discernment. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was leaking lack. What happens when your vehicle is leaking oil and you don't know it? You think everything is going good, and pretty soon you're somewhere and you're saying, whoa, wait a minute. I don't have the power I used to have. I didn't even realize that I was losing stamina because I was leaking lack. And so when the predator was presented, it looked like provision. And so I said, this is my answer. And so I married out of lack. Lack. This is what I need to plug in those potholes of poverty. Man, I'm helping better than y'all are posting in this comment section. I said, this is what I need. This is where I can plug in those potholes of poverty. I'm gonna use this, and there's poverty there, he'll take care of it. There's poverty there, he'll take care of it. See, I'm established now. See, I belong to somebody. See, I'm good. And didn't even realize that I had partnered up with a predator. So you can imagine my life 3 years later, 3 kids later, 6 years later, a whirlwind of financial exploitation, um, a whirlwind of emotional abuse, a whirlwind of mental anguish, a whirlwind of spiritual disruption. Just, I could tell you some stories, but I'm gonna stay focused on how I made the switch. Um, just a whirlwind of things that because I was leaking lack, all because I was not able to see that my dysfunction distorted my discernment. But when the light finally came on in that area, and I was finally able to escape, and I was finally able to get free, you know, now lack left me with a load. I got 3 kids. And so what started off as it's just me, myself, and I. Now I got kids, and I didn't. Then the scales. It's like when the scales fall off in one area. When somebody finally turns on the light, you see everything all at once, and it can be so overwhelming. When I recognized that I had partnered with a predator that was presented like provision, when I realized that I was plugging him into the potholes of poverty, when I recognized that I was leaking lack, and that I was emitting the sound of scarcity, the light came on, and I said, "How did I get here? What in the world happened to me?" Now I got to deal with shame and embarrassment, rejection, and all of these things. I began to discover stuff that my dysfunctions distracted me from. Again, dysfunction distorts discernment. I couldn't see. I started discovering that my stuff was being put in my name, and my credit was being exploited, and so many things was happening, and financially, I was at a zero. I was Here I am now, divorced, 3 kids, no job, no savings, credit shot, living at home again with my mom and my dad, trying to figure it out, back in the same cycle. What started speaking loud? Lack. I thank God for grace, because it's funny, we go from grace to grace. So God graced me to not lose my mind in that. He graced me to still allow faith to start trying to open back up, and so I was in a place where I was finally then able to get a job. I started traveling. I started seeing the other side of the game. I started being in a place where I said, you know what, I can actually survive now. Here's the thing though, because lack was so loud, what lack called to was the sound of survival. Man, I hope this is helping. Um, Lack started talking to survival mode. And so now all of a sudden, I never made it over into prosperity. Never, I hadn't even gone into financial security. No, lack was still loud. It just started now calling its friend. And so it started calling survival. If you've ever been in survival mode, you understand where I'm speaking from. I got to survive. If I got to work long hours, I got to survive. If I got to go get some of those buy here, pay here loans, payday check loans, I know what y'all know what I'm talking about. I got to survive. If I've got to figure if I can't have this, and if the children aren't gonna be able to do, but we got to survive. We got to survive, right? At this point, it's about surviving. At this point, uh, saving, I got to survive. Splurge, I got to survive. What? Thinking about my future, I got to survive. Credit, I got to survive. Who think about a credit score? Who think about savings? Who thinking about survival? Is the sound. Lack, I was leaking lack, and then it started speaking to survival. So now the loudest thing in me, being fueled by lack, was that I gotta survive. I just gotta do whatever I gotta do. I made relationship choices because I got to survive. I made choices about what I would do, when I would do, because I got to survive. You can imagine the whirlwind that caused in my life. Um, because what ended up happening was, as these things were speaking loud, and the Lord was saying, hey, you getting ready to make a switch. I can't make no switch. I got to survive. I remember very clearly when the Lord told me to make the switch. He said, hey, do this, and get ready to leave that job. There's no way. I can't leave this job. I'm going up in rank at this job. I'm making enough money to survive. I thought I'm making good money. Wasn't thinking about credit was shot, no savings, but I've got to survive. So I'm leaking lack. So look at the thread of lack that was woven through my life. Every time I felt a place of deficiency that opened the door to insufficiency, I would put myself in relationships and financial hardships and different places that spoke to the lack in my life. So then I partnered with a predator that was presented like provision. And I realized that I'm partnered with this predator. I got to get out of here. And so I start back over. I'm good. But leaking lack led to me being in survival mode. So when the Lord said to switch, there's no way that God, is that you? Or is this the devil trying to play, trying to keep me stuck? No, this the enemy trying to get me back to lack, not realizing I'm still living in lack. So, but he said, switch. It's time to switch. No, no, I can't switch now. Everything will fall apart. Do you see how dysfunction distorts discernment? Everything hadn't even fell together, but in my head, everything about to fall apart. And I didn't listen. I didn't listen because lack was still loud. And so I stayed at that job until they let me go. They let everybody go. Now, wait a minute. What? Lack is leaking. It is called to its friend survival. And so now I am holding on because lack is loud and I'm holding on to survive. I gotta survive. When the Lord says switch, no way. I have been partnered with a predator that was presented like provision. I have been leaking lack. I will not be in a position to continue to sing the song of scarcity. I've been in bad relationships because I'm attracting predators because they can smell the lack. They can smell the emotional self-esteem lack. They can smell I need a hero. I'm looking to be supported. Lack. So he says, leave. And I try to cleave. And the rug gets pulled from under my feet. What? Again, all of this time that the finances were coming in, I never still thought, hey, why don't you get your credit together? No, because I'm in survival mode. I ain't got time for credit. I'm trying to do these pay here loans. What? I'm robbing Peter and Paul, John too, if I saw him. Not thinking about that. Savings. What? I remember, man, can I tell you the truth? I can remember, like I said, this is a divorce and 3 kids later. I can remember even with the kids, my middle son, now all my children this year are all in their 20s, 20, 22, 24. So I am grateful to be a mom of adults now. But then, back then, my middle son was a misfit. Just, she was off the chain. He wore glasses and he would always break his glasses. Or just all the time. Y'all listen to me. I remember almost going into a panic because I would think to myself, how am I going to pay for these glasses? I remember I taped them together one time. I said, I can't, please. I can remember saying to my son one time, please don't break these glasses. I can remember praying, Lord, after I lost my job, please don't let my children get sick because I don't have insurance. Please don't let them break something because I don't know how I would pay for it. Please don't let nothing happen to this car I borrowed from my mama. Please just let me be able to figure out rent and gas. And I can't, I can't handle something breaking. But sometimes what we don't understand is that sometimes I said at the beginning of this live that sometimes you only appreciate light once all the lights are off. You only appreciate light only when you're in total darkness. You only decide to make the switch when you can't see. I hope this testimony is helping somebody. I told y'all I was just gonna come here and share. So I remember having those feelings. I lived with the feeling. I felt like I was going to develop an ulcer because my stomach used to be hurting all the time. And every time somebody would say anything that looked like it was going to require a credit check or a down payment, I completely disqualify. I can't. Don't talk to me about none of that. I can't deal with that. So again, lack speaks loud. Sometimes we make decisions, we get into relationships because we're saying, I just need somebody that's stable emotionally, financially. I just need to be established. And sometimes even in that, we don't even realize it's our lack still leaking. And so we go from the opposite, from one end to the other. Well, that one didn't have a job, a dime, slick words. I'm going to go completely opposite because lack is leaking. Scarcity is singing. And poverty seemed to be prophesying. Can I help y'all? That was where I felt like I was at. Lack was leaking and loud. Scarcity was singing. Poverty was prophesying. And I was just in a place where whatever looked like establishment, whatever looked like it would be stable financially or mentally or emotionally, lack would lead me there. And here, I'm just gonna be so honest. Here's the thing: even in marrying again, wasn't even thinking that sometimes we'll get in a comfortable place where we're saying, "Whoo, this really is provision. I'm being provided for. I'm being taken care of," and we get so complacent and so comfortable that we still neglect what needs to be taken care of. Oh, well, I don't need to get no credit together. Why? I'm getting what I need. I don't need to be saving. Why? I can just ask for this. What? And lack was still leading me into not positioning myself to prosper, not positioning myself to profit, not positioning myself for progression. So sometimes we can be seduced even by security. Man, I am bearing my soul tonight. Y'all getting all my little business. So here it is. Lack was loud. Scarcity was singing. Poverty was prophesying. And stability was seducing. That's being seduced by security. Ooh, this is what you need. So don't do anything else. This is what you've been waiting. Now you ain't gotta try so hard. Now you ain't gotta, and not realizing that there's a culprit called complacency. And if you listen to it, it will put you in a position where you still won't do what you need to do. You'll become inadvertently deficient because of a codependency. And you'll get codependent on people and they'll take care of it. And it wasn't until the last few years that when the lights start turning off and you start realizing, wait, I can be a clarity specialist and not be able to see. I gotta be able to see. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, my favorite scripture in the whole wide world was Isaiah. I think it was 59 and 10. In the CEV, it said, we feel our way along as if we were blind. We stumble at noon as if it were night. We can see no better than someone dead. I couldn't see. I couldn't see. Um, and because I couldn't see, it was hard for me to stand. Um, and I remember sometimes when you're in darkness, you keep hitting your knee against the wall enough. You keep bumping your head um, hard enough. You keep falling and tripping over stuff and busting your lip long enough. One day you'll say, "Hey, hey, I got to make the switch." And so how did I make the switch? I started turning on the light. I started saying, "Let me really see myself. I need to see myself. I need to see where I am, who am I, what are my dependencies, where am I being dependent on other people, where am I not standing, where am I leaning, because I'm not leading, I'm leaning. I start turning on lights. Making the switch for me happened when I started really seeing me for me. I didn't want to stumble at noon as if it were night. I didn't want to be compared to the sight of a person who's dead. So I said, let me start looking at me. It's easy to look at other people. Well, they doing this. I need to be doing that. Should be me. Well, they'll take care of that. Me. What can you do for you? And can I be honest? I got tired of situations happening where I couldn't do it on my own. Now, please hear clearly. There are cases where we are going to need to be supported. But there were places in my life where I needed to make a switch. I couldn't position myself and send for the winds of wealth if I couldn't sustain them myself. I remember I put up a post when I was going through this transition. I said, why would he give you the wealth of the wicked when he can't trust you with the seeds of the saved or the seeds of the saints? You call yourself a saint. You ain't doing right with your seeds. Why would I give you the wealth of the wicked? Why would I open the windows of heaven when you've yet to open the door to discipline? So I start saying, hey, whoa, wait. Let me do the one thing I don't want to do is turn the light on to my finances. Y'all talking about I would just default. Can you take care of this for me? Can you take care? I don't have a credit card. I can't do this. I don't have enough money to do this. I don't have enough saving to do this. I don't have enough credit to do this. I don't have enough. And so it put me in a place of deficiency, which made me feel ashamed. I can remember even starting my business and not wanting to deal with the financial portion of it, getting out of my seat and saying somebody else deal with it because it's just too overwhelming for me. Um, One day I woke up and I could see myself. And I said, no, I got to make the switch. I made the switch when I stopped making it somebody else's responsibility to plug the poverty. Um, when I stopped making it somebody else's responsibility to silence scarcity. Um, I had to, I think sometimes even we put the responsibility on even God. Oh, God will supply all my needs. Yeah, He will. But He also said faith without work. He also said, I give you the power to obtain wealth. I'm not going to obtain wealth for you. What are you doing? So making the switch for me had to be about what are you doing for yourself? And it made me walk in the dark places in my mind, in my emotion, and find where were the places where I felt incapacitated? Where were the places where I felt insufficient? Where were the places where I felt like I had to keep the lights on dim because I wasn't enough? And I had to make a decision to go out and buy better light bulbs, higher wattage, When I started feeling deficient in my intellect, I went back to school. I kept going back to school. It took me forever. Listen, don't let this Dr. E fool you. I've been in school, I feel like, forever. But that was a place I wanted to turn on the light. Um, Certain things I wanted to accomplish. Yeah, I had to confront it. I said, let me confront the culprit. Um, it's time for me to have a conversation with these areas of deficiency. So, what are these places where I'm feeling insufficient? Let's stop hiding it. Y'all know what we do. We sweep things under the rug and we close things in the closet because it's dark. But I start pulling back covers. Where is it? It's my credit that's making me feel deficient and insufficient. Turn the light on so I can see what I need to do. Stop waiting for a hero. Stop defaulting and being codependent and living off of somebody else's lessons and what they've tried to do. What about you? I said, let me figure out. I can figure this out. There is no way that all of these things are at our disposal and I'm still over here looking crazy about credit, about education, about learning, getting certified in certain areas, about business. No, not so. Heaven forbid. So I started getting serious, even about saving. It started really small. I said, I got to turn the light on and say to myself, hey, how are you going to provide this stuff? You shouldn't be looking crazy if you got to go to the doctor. What if that wasn't available? What do you have for you? No, that's his. What do you have? No, that's theirs. What do you have? So little by little, I made the switch. Started being intentional about putting money up. I started being intentional about opening the door to discipline. And the more I opened the door of discipline, the Lord opened the windows of heaven and start pouring out blessings. But if He knows I can't handle it, He's not going to give me an overflow. I always say this: you can't operate in overflow when you live in overdraft. Nah. I got tired of seeing people jump up and buy tickets that cost money, grab a plane ticket or go to these conferences. And I would think to myself, man, I would love to do that. I can't afford to do that. I was like, wait a minute. I got to make the switch. That's talking too loud. I need prosperity to be louder than poverty. I don't need that. I need my faith to be stronger than my failure. I've got to find something that speaks louder than the insufficient places in my life. And so I started saving, being disciplined about where I spent money. What did I spend money on? I started turning the light on to the image of who I wanted to be. I used to say, when I used to do Mic Drop Monday, I would say, if you see yourself in the comments, say, I see me. And I did that because I wanted to make sure that I could see clearly myself in these situations. And so I started saying, I need to save some money. I'm tired of seeing other people look like they live in their best life. They got the same life I do. We all got the same life, not the same living situation, but the same life, same breath, same ability to see and hear and speak and do and go. I said, you know what? I have just as much potential to save money as the next person. Might not save at the same level, may not even be saving the same amount. And little by little, my sacrifice turned into saving. And I started taking some money. I recognized that I didn't have to rob Peter or Paul. I recognized that all I had to do was start being intentional about when I went out to eat, what I ordered. Did I really need to go to the salon and get this done? Did I really need to order that? Was I going to have to start taking some rain checks on some stuff? Or was I going to invest in these things? I can't go out. I can't take vacation because right now I got to do some work and get some return. I'm looking for establishment and I'm looking for stability when it was in here. So I started having to get emotionally stable. First of all, I started having to get spiritually stable. I started having to be stable in different places in my life because, see, a double minded man is unstable in all his ways. So if I'm unstable about this, I'm going to be unstable about that. Something very interesting happened when I started being intentional about saving a little here, shaving a little from there, saving a little there. I started saying, wait a minute, I never forget the first time I woke up and I had saved $5,000. You listen to me, y'all, because y'all just heard my story. If you're just coming on, thank you, but go back and watch the replay. I told all of the real and the raw. You thought I won the lottery. I said, wait a minute, I'm saving this. And I'm still, buying what I need to buy. And shoot, let me set another goal. Here I am now setting goals for myself. It became easy to say no to things. It became easier to cook and not go out. It became easier to pass on certain things until I was able to get it comfortably. It became easier to take a certain amount of cash and just live off of that. And when it was gone, I was done. Discipline, deliberate discipline. And as I began to turn the light on in the areas where I was always trying to hide, I started making the changes necessary for me. And so 5,000 became 10,000. And then 10 became 20. And it continued 30 and then 40. And it just kept continuing. And I said, what in the world? And so now that I have this, I recognize something was crazy was happening. The louder my discipline became, the softer lack was speaking. Looked like lack might have got a sinus infection or a throat infection or something, because lack started getting real soft. It wasn't talking as loud. My decisions now weren't motivated by scarcity and lack. I was able to make sound decisions. I could rightly divide the word and truth because lack wasn't screaming at me anymore. And I recognized if I can do this, then I can do that. And I started setting goals. I recognized that when I stopped singing the song of scarcity and the lullaby of lack, I stopped attracting the same people that were around me. All of us. That's right. I love that. Lack got laryngitis. That's so good. I realized that the people around me who actually were in love with lack, who actually was partnered up with poverty, they didn't want to hear that. And so my circle had to change. And so my environment had to change. I had to start speaking to people who were activators, who were executors, who were out there doing the things that I wanted to do. I needed to hear what they were hearing and see what they were seeing and do what they were doing. And can I tell you, I didn't find this while I was on my knees in prayer. I stopped praying for money and I started asking for plans. I needed the spirit of execution. I didn't need to sing another hymn or release another sob story. I needed the spirit of execution. I needed strategy. And so I began to cultivate another environment for myself mentally and emotionally. And I realized that I started attracting people who actually could invest in what I was doing. I had to turn the light, make the switch in how I saw myself. Instead of prostituting my prosperity and renting out my resources and putting my call on clearance, I decided to look at my education, my expertise, and my experience and say, wait a minute. I remember a few years ago, I made a very profound statement. I said, I made a decision. You can't pay me what I'm worth. I love people that say, because I used to say it, you need to start charging your worth. No, the devil is a whole lie. You can't pay me what I'm worth. I'm invaluable. I was fearfully and wonderfully made. My value is above rubies. You can't pay me what I'm worth, but you can invest in what I'm willing to release. I need to say this because this is somebody gonna make the switch with this. The light is coming on. You can't pay me what I'm worth. Let me stop putting that responsibility on you. But you can invest into what I'm willing to release. When I made the switch in seeing myself higher, my prices went higher. I hope this don't make nobody mad. When I saw me higher, the price went up. And because I started the light came on so I could actually see, wait a minute, I'm talking to somebody for an hour and they're using strategies and making $10,000 and I charged 100. No, no, let me switch this. Let me shift this. So I started changing up some stuff. Let me just pause and say, y'all stay connected. For those of you all, I am opening up something that I think a lot of you all are going to want to be a part of. And I think I may release it in the next month or so. I'm, finishing up the building boardroom brilliance right now, but especially those of you all that are dealing with self-worth and wholeness and are looking for a community for healing and encouragement and cultivation and really wanting to tackle things like self-sabotaging and all of those different things. If you're not following me, you should, because I have something that's going to be presented in a few months that I believe you're not going to want to miss. Anyway, I turned the light on and I started recognizing that I had something for people. I'm getting ready now to be opening up executive level premium VIP days. Spend a day with me. I'm gonna lay out your whole strategy from the rooter to the tutor and give you a plan. And you're gonna pay a premium price for it, but what you're gonna get, you're gonna be able to profit and prosper, and you're gonna be positioned to progress. And so I started moving different and attracting a different level of people because I made the switch, which leads me to today's testimony. I was able to walk in the Lexus dealership and say, that's what I want. I want to be able to do it for myself. And as I sat there thinking through all of the stuff I shared with you tonight, and they came back and said, approved. You just bought a Lexus SUV. What? You'll have to put a down payment if you want to. If you want your price points here, you can do that. What? And so I'm just so grateful to God, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the times where the darkness enveloped me, because when I was in dark places, it made me have a fresh appetite for light. It made me want to make the switch. Speaking of making the switch, I have a free event. And I'm talking about free, not like I just said it's free and it's really not free. But my Making the Switch event is this weekend. I want to say registration ends tomorrow, y'all. So you actually only have tonight and tomorrow by midnight to It's free. See, this is one of those things that I don't know another way to make this available to you besides making it free. But if you don't go to goregisternow.com and just put your name and your email address in, you won't be able to be a part of it. No, it's not going to be on Facebook. No, if we want something, making the switch, go get it. I'm bringing in some amazing people that I am personally connected to who's made the switch in ministry. If you have pastors or people who are ministers or trying to be a ministry, Apostle LaJean Cole, Pastor Rosalinda Riviera are going to come, and they're going to talk about pastors who still know how to profit. If you're having some things mentally, you're saying, I'm struggling with how to position myself. I don't know what are these mental blocks. My friend Mimika Coney and Dr. Shannon Crawford are going to come deal with that. And then if you're trying to shift, you're saying, but I'm a millennial and I don't really, everybody seems to have it going on. I don't know how to do it. Or, I came out of the church and in ministry. Ain't no way I am okay. Or they're going to be okay with me making some money. Listen, by the time Ashonda Blue, Sheldon Neal, and Dr. Amy Rucker get finished with you, you're going to want to shift. And so join me. It's going to be beginning Friday night. The website is right here, goregisternow.com. Friday night. It's going to kick off at 7 p.m. Eastern, I believe, and then Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And then again, we'll reconvene at 7 p.m. It's maybe an hour and a half of your time. It's free, and it's going to shift your life. It's going to help you make the switch. Because I'm bringing my friends in, I wanted to give y'all my personal Making the Switch testimony tonight. So this was the prelude. This was y'all's prelude to that. Because I want y'all to be there, and tell your friends about it. Share this video or tag them later. Say, look, you need to watch this. And then you need to make sure you meet me at the Making the Switch event, because it's free. And we need to make some switches in our lives in some different capacities. And so, anyway, I pray that tonight was a blessing to you guys. I'll try to make sure that I come back and read the comment section, or if you guys left messages or posted about it, I'm definitely going to pay attention to all of that. Thank you. So many of you guys saw the post on my page and celebrated with me. Thank you. I appreciated it, but I just wanted people to know. The story behind the glory. And I think people have to know the turmoil behind the triumph. And so the burden behind the blessing. Y'all know I'm the queen of alliteration. So I think that's what really helps people transform and take it to the next level. So I'm Dr. E. Thank y'all again. I'm so grateful for you guys. I don't take it for granted that you are a part of my world, and that you guys support me in the different ways that you can. Some of you guys so to me, it blesses my soul. You never know. And then I hear the testimonies that happen as a result, that some of you guys get jobs and healings and manifestations and opportunities. And because you said, I sowed in faith because you're good ground and this happened. Some of you all, come watch me live and share. That's a blessing to me. Thank you. Some of y'all invest in my courses, and thank you. So whatever it is that you do, I want you to know that I am so appreciative and so grateful for the connection. I don't take this assignment lightly. And so, I always tell people, and I always mean this, that may the blessings of the Lord overtake you. May his favor find you and run you down, and may the winds of wealth blow on your life. All right. So until next time, y'all.